Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Ohio.
Another glorious weather day in downtown Cincinnati and another good crowd on hand at Great American Ballpark. It's a finale of this three-game series between division rivals, and the Reds today trying to sweep the Milwaukee Brewers. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Something today has to give, with Homer Bailey squaring off against the Milwaukee ace, Zack Greinke.
Well, you're right about that. Homer was very, very good in the month of May. He's been a little bit more inconsistent here in June overall. But the Brewers today are going to send out their main man, Zack Greinke. A lot of trade talk concerning this guy here. As you go down to the trade deadline at the end of July, people are wondering where this ace may end up. He's 8-2 overall this year. This guy's a real deal, coming off his best game of the year. A three-hit shutout against the White Sox. Reds have is really something on their hands with Greinke today.
So they're trying to beat Greinke for the first time. Homer trying to beat Milwaukee for the first time. And when we come back, the first pitch and all the action from Great American Ballpark. You're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Sports Ohio brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Cincinnati USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. All right, let's take a look at Ron Renicke's starting lineup presented by AXA Advisors. Been a good series for Aoki in left field today. Niger Morgan and Ryan Aramis Ramirez at third. No Ryan Braun in the lineup today. Middle third of Corey Hart, Ricky Weeks, and Martin Maldonado. A latter third of Ransom, Gomez, and their ace Zack Greinke. And starting it for the Reds, Looking to go to 6-5 is Homer Bailey.
I would imagine that Homer Bailey has 2 goals today. Number 1 is to beat the Brewers, which he has never done before. Number 2 is go a little deeper into the ball game.
First pitch swinging, popped up by Aoki, and in foul ground it's Cozart. So we're underway. 1 pitch, 1 out. Our weather spectacular. What about the rest of the day? It's brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. John Gum.
All right, the weather for this game today looks spectacular. It's going to be a little warmer than the past couple of days. Let's hope Homer Bailey can go out there and get a win today. 80 by the first pitch. We're going to go into the upper 80s by the final out today. Beautiful, beautiful weather. Enjoy the game right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Thanks so much, John. Now it's Nigel Morgan. 1 pitch and 1 out for Homer Bailey, and there's a fastball, strike 1. Eric Cooper behind the plate. Marty Foster at first. Tim Timmons at second base, and the crew chief Jeff Kellogg, the umpire, down at third. 0-2. Morgan, a .238 batter, 2 home runs, 4 knocked in, playing regularly. Ever since Matt Gamble went down at first base, they moved Corey Hart in from right field to play first base, and there's a jam shot roller. Phillips going to have to barehand, and a nice play to get to Speedy Morgan. Reds defensively presented by your Ford dealers. Heisey getting the nod in center. It's been 2 real good days for Drew Stubbs. Along the infield, Todd Frazier replaces Scott Rowland down at third in a battery of Homer Bailey and Devin Mesoraco. 2 out for Aramis Ramirez. Bailey making his 15th start of the season today. You know, really, you take away 3 bad starts, you can make an argument 2 really bad starts. And overall has had a pretty good year. That one's in the air. To the track is Heisey. And a good start for Homer Bailey, working a perfect first inning. Reds come to bat when we return. Reds coming to bat, bottom of the first inning against Zach Greinke, and here's the starting lineup for Dusty Baker, brought to you by AXA Advisors. Cozart, then Heisey and Votto, Phillips, Jay Bruce, and Ryan Ludwick, Todd Frazier, Devin Mesoraco, and Homer Bailey on the mound. Zach Greinke Well, you talk about a guy having an unbelievable year. If you could take away 2 very bad starts, and that ERA is still at 2.81.
I think there's a lot of pitchers out there that you can say the same thing for. You were just talking about Homer Bailey. Except for a couple of bad starts, he would have a really great year. You can talk about a number of pitchers like that. But Greinke's a guy that it seems like you get deeper into the summer, he gets better and better. He's thrown some of his best games lately, like his last game, a shutout against the White Sox. He's also pitched very well against the Reds his first time out. That was back in May the 9th, when he went 8 scoreless innings against this Reds ball club. But unfortunately for Greinke, that day he was matched up against Johnny Cueto.
Well, what a great game that was.
Yeah. Reds eventually won it when the Brewers brought in John Axford.
2-1 win. Two and one the count on Zach Cozart. Greinke, a 16-game winner a season ago. He only made 28 starts. 7th overall in the National League in strikeouts. And that one hit hard, but right at Ricky Weeks. And Cozart thrown out, one away. Defensively for the Brewers, Gomez getting his first start of the series in center. No Ryan Braun. Aoki goes over to left. Cody Ransom, his first start of the series at shortstop. And Martin Maldonado, we saw him in the series opener, sat down last night, but working with Greinke here today. Now Chris Heisey. Heisey quickly behind, 0-2. Chris saw a lot of playing time while Drew Stubbs was out. Here you go back to last year when everybody was screaming for Heisey to get more regular playing time. Well, he got quite a bit last year in spurts, and quite a bit this year in spurts. And certainly the question that comes to mind is, Chris, talking to Chris Welsh, 18 home runs last year for Heisey, only 2 so far this year.
Well, he's changed his approach a little bit, and you can watch him in the batter's box and see that. Watch his front foot. He gets that down very early in order to make a little bit better contact. See that little step right there? That's something that he adopted really this year. And what happened to Heisey is that he came to spring training wanting to reinvent himself. He realized that he was very good on one particular pitch, which was an inside fastball up and in. He was as fast as anybody in the league, but the league was beginning to throw slow breaking pitches away, and he was having a hard time adjusting. So he made that adjustment in the batter's box, and I'm wondering if maybe that took a little bit of his power away.
Two and two to count on Chris Heisey. And a bouncer again at Weeks. 2 out. Let's take a look at our Farmers Insurance report card on Zach Greinke. A big difference for this young man, really through his entire career, not just in Milwaukee. But these are the numbers as a Brewer. And Chris, what a difference home and the road. He has never lost a game at Miller Park.
Yeah, he really has that some kind of special confidence when he goes out there at Miller Park and takes the mound. And yeah, the numbers speak for themselves, yes, but a lot of things that go on with Zach Greinke are not necessarily physical. They're not the numbers that he puts up. Sometimes he has a difficulty handling the emotional part of pitching at this level. And maybe pitching at home just gives him a comfort level that he doesn't have on the road.
There are a lot of people out there that feel like exactly what you are referring to, and it's been well documented that Greinke, you know, he suffered from severe depression a couple of years ago, contemplated suicide at one time during his career. Former #1 draft pick, and there's some that believe any questions that may still linger could cost him perhaps a lot of money in free agency. You know somebody's going to step out there and they're going to pay him. But there are some teams that feel like they may shy away a little bit from Greinke. Whether that's true or false, that's just what we sort of hear through the grapevine and talking to scouts.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is that here it is. a month or so before the trading deadline. And if a ball club were to approach the Brewers right now, and they really needed this series, and since they've lost the first two, well, they're 8.5 back now, and they may be willing to deal Greinke. And a team that would get him could rent him for a couple of months and find out whether all this stuff that is written about him is actually true or not. So, and then if they decide to keep him or try to keep him, they offer him, whatever they have to offer him in order to get a supplemental pick in the event that he doesn't sign with them. But it's kind of like taking a test car home and driving it for a while before you decide to buy it.
Well, he is one talented young man. That cannot be denied. It's 3-2 on Votto, and it'll stay right there. We'll do it again.
Part of the talent with Greinke is the same type of thing that you see with a guy like Verlander, where he has a big separation between his slowest pitch and his fastest pitch. Now, he doesn't throw 100 miles an hour like Justin Verlander, but he can dial it up to 95 and 96 every once in a while. But he throws a slow breaking ball around the low 70s. So that's a big spread that hitters have to get adjusted to.
That ball is clobbered by Votto in a straightaway center field, and it's up against the wall. And Joey Votto, 32 doubles now on the season.
Looked like it was a slider of some kind because it came in there at 87 miles an hour, and he got it out over the plate. And that's the heart of the plate right there. And you get that pitch to Joey Votto, good chance he's going to lock the barrel on it. And Joey Votto again is safe at second, safe and secure.
New York light. Worked last night.
Yeah, they did. Are ready, as in all the time.
Here's Brandon Phillips. Fastball off the outside corner. By the way, for Joey Votto, for what it means, the mythical first half of the season, in other words, from the start of the year up until the All-Star break, Joey Votto has just tied Frank Robinson and Chris Sabo for the most doubles in the first half of a season, and has done it in far fewer games than Robinson and Sabo. After today, the Reds still have an 11-game road trip out west leading up to the All-Star game. Slow roller going to be a tough play for Ramirez. He barehands and makes a nice throw to get Phillips, and that'll end the inning. Good play by Aramis Ramirez. They hit a man left end of one, no score.
Something that Brian has addressed, because I know he's happy, especially after that bad week he had last week, but that's something that we don't play like that around here.
The referring to the forward rolls by Aroldis Chapman following the game last night. Our storyline brought to you by Elkin Out, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Apparently, the Brewers didn't feel as though Chapman was trying to show anybody up. Now, I guess we'll see if that holds true the way this one plays out today, Chris.
I don't think you're going to see anything of it, Tom. I really don't. I did hear, however, that the Russian judge gave him a 9.6.
Those Russian judges, you know how they are. Between them and the French and the East Germans, good luck. 2-1 on Corey Hart. Of course, those were the old days.
Oh, yeah. We'll find out this summer.
You might be right. Off the end of the bat, Hart, that ball still carries and continues to carry, and Heisey has it hit off his glove. And Bruce firing back to the infield, and Hart's going to end up at third. Boy, it didn't look like he got all that, but with the warmer temperatures, that ball just continued to carry, and hopefully Heisey's all right.
It did carry a lot. You know, you're talking about a very big guy in Corey Hart. Got a long bat right there, and he gets it, looks like on the end of the bat. But, man, that ball really did carry. This ballpark shouldn't be a big surprise right there. Heisey goes up and slams right into that wall. There's about 3 inches of padding, and behind that is poured steel. So that doesn't give a whole lot right there. He stays in the ball game, but Hart ends up with a triple.
So now runner at third with nobody out to begin the Milwaukee second inning in his scoreless game, and it's ball 1 to Ricky Weeks.
It's be interesting really between Bailey and Weeks. Weeks has been scuffling so much at the plate. Comes in here with a 184 batting average, but he's really owned Homer Bailey in his career. He's 10 for 19. And I imagine that's because in the past Homer Bailey would challenge Ricky Weeks with a lot of fastballs, and Ricky Weeks is a very good fastball hitter.
Reds infield. Everybody pulled in with the exception of Brandon Phillips.
That's what happens when you face Zach Greinke. You play the second inning like it's the 7th inning, because if you get a chance to score, you better try to get that run in, even if it's only 1 run. And if they have a chance to score, you've got to throw 0 on the board. Tough challenge here for Bailey.
2-1 to Weeks. And that ball's in the air, more than deep enough to bring in 1, maybe deep enough to bring in 2, and it's out of here. So Ricky Weeks continues his full ownership of Homer Bailey. 2-0 Milwaukee here in the second inning.
Isn't baseball amazing, though, really? I mean, here's a guy that really can't buy a hit. But you put a pitcher on the mound that he's had a good run against, and he has a good feeling at the plate, and just his body language looks different. His swing looks different. Everything. All of a sudden, the sun is shining for Ricky Weeks when Homer's out there.
th home run allowed by Homer Bailey this year, and only the 6th this season for Ricky Weeks. Maldonado first pitch swinging, popped up a long run for everybody, and Bruce tries to slide and get it, foul ball.
Well, that was very close.
I think Ron Renicky is saying, I think you missed that call.
You know what? He may have something to talk about right there. I'm not sure how they can't review it. They can ask another umpire for an opinion. That what made it very difficult for that first base umpire is the fact that, you know, Jay Bruce was sliding at the same time that ball came down and hit the ground, and it actually hit on the other side of Jay Bruce, away from home plate and away from that umpire, who is Marty Foster. We'll take another look at it and see if you can see. It's a fair ball. Take a break right there.
That's a big time break. Bruce actually slid in front of where the ball landed.
Of course, I'm not so sure that Greinke had any better look at it than Marty Foster did. So how do you really vehemently go out there and argue that unless you hear it from one of your TV guys back up in the bullpen or back up in the clubhouse somewhere?
Two and one on Maldonado. Bruce an easier try this time. 1 out. The Reds will be hitting the road after the game tonight. A very long flight to the Bay Area, and they will begin their final road trip leading up to the All-Star break. 4 against the Giants. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Petco Park in San Diego. Now, a lot of people around here, I mean, it seems like it's a never-ending, talking point, for lack of a better term. How terrible the Reds have been on the West Coast, and they have had their problems over the last number of years. But that old adage about what have you done for me lately? The Reds went 7-3 on the West Coast 1 year ago. Won 2 out of 3 in San Diego. Split a 4-game series against the Giants. Easily could have won all 4 of those games. And they swept the Dodgers in Los Angeles 3 straight. But granted, you look over the last 6 years, and I think that's what most people are talking about. The West Coast has been a nightmare for the Reds.
Well, it's not homer-friendly baseball out there. You're playing a couple of ballparks in San Francisco and in San Diego where the ball stays in the ballpark the majority of the time. Very difficult to hit home runs, and that's a stark contrast to what the Reds have here at Great American Park, where you can miss-hit a ball and still dump it into the first row in right field. And even Dodger Stadium in the evenings, it gets cool, ball doesn't carry very well there, so it's a different style of baseball, certainly. I think the Reds maybe will be a little better prepared this year, even though they had a good run last year. They've got their bullpen is in good shape. They're healthy down there. They're throwing the ball well. And I think when you have a good bullpen, you can travel. And you have Joey Votto. That helps too.
Grounded down to Todd Frazier. He'll play it. Make a good throw to Votto. They're 2 away in the inning. And at least like right now, Chris, not including the start, what's going to happen for Homer Bailey here today. This last turn through the starting rotation has been just about as good as it's been one time through all year long.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's really starting with Johnny Cueto and that 6-0 shutout that he threw up there against the Minnesota Twins. Right on to last night with Bronson Arroyo flirting with a no-hitter, losing it after 7 1/3.
Ball hit by Gomez, and getting to the bag in time is Bailey, and that'll end the inning. Damage done. A 2-run home run by Weeks to give Milwaukee the 2-0 lead. by Miller Lite. You get ready for that. Also get ready to get your tickets for the Reds and the Cardinals, a series that begins on July the 13th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, the first 20,000 fans through the gates take home a Reds lawn flag courtesy of Queen City Sausage. Reds and the Cardinals right out of the gate post All-Star break. For tickets, call 381-REDS or visit Reds.com today. That is going to be a power-packed series. Reds and the Cardinals have a couple of more weekend gatherings here in Cincinnati from now through the end of the summer. Cardinals not only here the 13th, 14th, and 15th, they come back again the weekend of August 24th, 25th, and 26th. And the Reds have one more trip to St. Louis, the final 3 games of the 2012 regular season. Boy, how big conceivably could that last road trip be?
You're not kidding about that.
3 in Pittsburgh, 3 in St. Louis to end the year. Two and one to Jay Bruce. Swing and a miss. Cardinals have won 5 in a row. They swept Kansas City over the weekend. They've won the first 2 in Miami to pull within 2 of the Reds. The Pirates, meanwhile, have lost 3 in a row. So they're 3 back. Fly ball, short left, 1 out. Speaking of those Giants, who the Reds are going to see starting tomorrow night, they have made it back-to-back wins over the Dodgers in their series, with one more game coming up later this afternoon. If the Giants win that game, they will be in a first-place tie with Los Angeles in the National League West. We saw the Giants already this year. Reds beat them 2 out of 3. There's a ground ball by Ludwick down to third, 2 out. But Chris, they've been as good as anybody in baseball, really right there running neck and neck with the Reds for best records in baseball going back to the middle of April.
They have. And they've done that really despite having some pitching problems, especially with Tim Lincecum. They've been finding a way to win. Melky Cabrera's helped that ball club out tremendously. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that they didn't panic in the beginning of the year when the Dodgers got off to such a great start. And of course, missing Matt Kemp for such a long period of time has hurt the Dodgers and allowed maybe the Giants to come back, get close to them, and that'll make for a very interesting series out there in San Francisco.
That was one of the best series just from a pure baseball standpoint to watch last year when the Reds went out there. Like this upcoming series, they played 4 games, all of them low scoring, played close to the vest, decided late, and the Reds wound up splitting the 4-game series. But Chris, I think you would concur. I mentioned it earlier. I'm sure both teams feel like they could have gone 4-0 in that series.
Yeah, usually when you say, well, the Reds could have swept them, you probably could say the same thing if you were a Giants fan. But it was a very good series from a baseball standpoint.
In the air, deep left center field, and it's up against the wall. And Todd Frazier back in the lineup. He's coming to third. He's in there with a triple.
There is something about this ballpark when it starts heating up, and it's supposed to have temperatures up in the high 80s today, and the ball is flying. A little hang and breaking ball right there. Now, Frazier's got some power, no question. But he hit this ball on the right day. You hit that same pitch tomorrow night, and it doesn't get to the warning track at AT&T Park, but who cares? He gets a triple right here. Took a couple of different stutter steps as he goes around the base pass and ends up going head first into third.
Now the Reds looking for a 2-out hit to knock in a run from a number 8 hitter, the rookie catcher Devin Mesoraco. Strike one.
I'm wondering how seriously really Zach Greinke is going to go after Devin Mesoraco right here. You got the pitcher on deck. He's got a 2-run lead. The Reds would love to get a base hit right here and half that lead.
Tough pitch right there on a 2-1 count. Caught the outside corner, a breaking ball to even it at 2-2. Bailey hoping to get up there here in the inning. He'd love to come up there with a 1-run deficit. Or why not a tie game if Mesoraco can run into one. Try to get him to chase that breaking ball outside and low, and he does it to run the count full. Fastball that Mesoraco didn't like. Second straight inning, the Reds leave a runner in scoring position. They trail 2-0 at the end of 2. Season, Fox Sports is proud to support Boys and Girls Clubs of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential, productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. A crystal clear, gorgeous summer day in Cincinnati. 2-0 ball game on a 2-run home run by Ricky Weeks in the Milwaukee second inning, the only scoring so far. In fact, this is the only game right now underway in all of Major League Baseball, and there are a pile of games in both leagues. Getting ready to get started in New York, Yankees and the Indians. Well, what an unbelievable run the Yankees have been on. Man, oh man. Talked about how the Reds have had the best record in Major League Baseball after their 4-8 start. Going back to April the 19th, that's no longer true. The Yankees are now 2 games better than the Reds since then. 39-22.
Now, the Yankees had such a good run in interleague play. They were 13-5, despite the fact that Reds went in there and took 2 out of 3. Just when you think the New York Yankees are getting old and some of their superstar players have kind of come back to the pack a little bit after a great start, Jeter is kind of settled down. Same with some of the other players. They just keep putting wins on the board.
Broken bat out of play by Greinke.
Nice grab.
Greinke 4 hits and 26 at bats. He does have 1 double. And Bailey on a 2-2. That ball is hammered down the line and foul. That swing didn't look like a guy 4 out of 26.
No, it sure did not. That swing looks like a guy that might need to get a slider on the next pitch.
In the hole, Cozart plants and throws in time, 1 out. Well, if you're hitting the road, take Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Reds with you by subscribing to MLB.tv. MLB.tv is baseball everywhere. Chika Aoki shows bunt, takes outside, ball 1. He fouled out to Cozart on the very first pitch of the game. See Bailey signaling to the home plate umpire Eric Cooper, asking where the pitch missed. Was it low? Was it high? Was it outside? And Cooper said it was away. He's going out there again, and this time he finds the corner. Base hit left field.
Well, that's a nice weapon. A little stroke like that. He did the same thing the other night. Actually, it was last night against Bronson Arroyo to drive in the tying run of the ball game. Just a little bit of a flip of the bat, trying to hit that hole between the third baseman and the shortstop. You got the third baseman played in, opens it up a little bit, and it's a nice little bit of baseball.
Frazier a step or 2 in on the grass at third. Should Morgan think about putting down a bunt? And obviously it would be a bunt attempt for a hit. Ball 1 outside to Nyjer Morgan, who hit a weak roller that probably wouldn't have made it out of the infield grass. And Brandon Phillips had to come charging in, pick it up barehanded, and throw him out. Weekly popped up to the left side of the infield, and to the grass. It's Cozart for the second out. Well, it is amazing the difference in Nyjer Morgan. From the Nyjer Morgan we saw earlier this year in Milwaukee, it seemed like every time he turned around, he was hitting a rocket somewhere. Left, center, right. But obviously that has been the exception rather than the rule for Morgan this year, who had a very good season last year. That was grounded foul. I mean, coming into the game today, playing regularly and batting in the 230s, only has 4 doubles all year.
Well, he certainly lost a step than what he was years ago, but even from earlier in the year, it looks to me like he just loops his swing a little bit. He just seemed to be so much crisper to the ball early, at least against the Reds. We only go by what we see, but I'm glad not to see that same guy that we did earlier in the year. He was a pest.
Throw gets away. And on his way to second base is Aoki.
Well, Aoki was running on the last pitch, the one that was fouled off first pitch to Ramirez. I think it was more of a hit and run than it was, maybe it was a straight steal. And he looked like he had a notion of going that time. But when you throw the ball on the other side of the runner, you can't expect your first baseman to sacrifice his body and dive across the guy trying to save your errant throw. So Aoki has found his way to second base, whether it's by a stolen base or an error on Homer Bailey.
And it will be an error on the Reds pitcher.
You know, I think that for other than Johnny Cueto, but for every time a right-handed pitcher picks a guy off first base, he probably throws the ball by the first baseman 5 times. It's just a low percentage play unless you're just going to toss it over there to let him know that you're there and that I might throw over harder if you don't watch it. But to actually spin and try to pick a guy off, there's only one guy I know that can do that consistently, and that guy's Johnny Cueto. Picked off 5 of them this year.
Well, the air comes back to hurt. There's a base hit into left field, and the Brewers extend their lead to make it 3-0. And there's a point of illustration of what you're referring to, Chris. Just a silly throw over there to first base, puts a guy in scoring position, and now a run.
I mean, if you look back and remember that throw to first base that Homer Bailey had, Aoki was going in standing up. So he hadn't really extended his lead so much that your throw wasn't going to be so quick that he even felt like he had to dive back to get in there to be safe. And yet on that play, you said, go ahead and take second base. I'm just going to throw it away. It's a physical mistake, certainly, but something you hate to see happen, especially when you're facing Zach Greinke.
We were talking recently with Mitch Williams, the former closer of the Chicago Cubs, Philadelphia Phillies, among others, and he was talking about similar kind of play, huge jump, and no chance for Mesoraco. Oh, he slid right into the tag. Ramirez, who rarely runs, it looked like he wasn't going to slide until the last second, and by not doing so, he slid into the tag, and apparently his helmet may have caught Brandon Phillips right in the face.
think as Ramirez went in, he threw his arm up.
Yeah.
And he slapped him, kind of gave him a forearm shiver right across the nose and lips. Accidental though it may be. Well, I'll tell you what, Devin Mesoraco completely made that play because Homer Bailey was paying no attention at all to Ramirez. And Mesoraco just came out of nowhere and just fires a seed down to second base. I mean, you called that play like I saw it, which was Ramirez is going to be safe. No problem.
I thought no chance.
I couldn't believe how fast that ball got.
I couldn't either. I mean, guilty as charged for me.
Man, that is a gun.
All right, Homer and the Reds down 3-0 against Zach Greinke here in the bottom of the third inning. Work to do indeed. 2-2.
Take another look at that throw. I mean, Homer, big throw, and then just right there. Pow. See ya. I guarantee you that Aramis Ramirez halfway down there is thinking, I got me one. It's been a while, but I've got one. Then he looks up, and there's the ball.
1 out. If a Red hits the Toyota sign during our game today, Lisa McBride from Cincinnati will win the beautiful new Tundra on display here at the ballpark. And you can register for your chance to win it at an upcoming game to stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. 1 out. Nobody on, top of the order, and a breaking ball to Zach Kozar to strike. Reds had a 2-out double by Votto in the first, a 2-out triple by Frazier in the second. Kozar only 1 hit in his last 23 at bats. His batting average, he had gone 65 at bats, batting nearly .370. But now all of a sudden has gone stone cold. And he is called out on strikes, and that's 2 of them for Greinke.
Why swing? He couldn't hit that pitch anyway.
Well, if Greinke's getting that call all afternoon from Eric Cooper, it could be a very short day for the Reds offense.
Well, he's the kind of pitcher that can throw it to that spot. He's got good control, a lot of movement on his fastball. I mean, velocity-wise, he's 91 and 92, 93. Occasionally, he'll hump it up there when he needs it. But he's got action. He's a former #1 draft pick. Came out of Apopka, Florida. Out of high school, the Royals got him #1 back in 2002.
Misplayed out there in right field by Nyjer Morgan, and Heisey's going to end up at second base. Well, that's a routine fly ball that was just misplayed by Nyjer Morgan. Generally a very good defensive outfielder.
Well, we see the end of it. What we didn't see in the beginning, it was a couple of steps backwards that he took when that ball came off the bat. And he tries to recover. The ball comes in and hits him on the heel of his glove, and Reds catch a break.
And Heisey awarded a double. Now Votto. Third straight inning, the Reds have had a 2-out extra base hit, but unable to get the runner in. And there is strike 1 to Votto as he rolls it foul. He doubled over the head of Gomez in center in the first inning.
Votto has reached Greinke before. Hit a double, dead center field the first time up. He's also 4 for 14 coming into this ball game. 3 of those 4 hits are home runs.
One and two on Votto.
That's a pretty good. Another way to measure a great player is what does that great player do against exceptional pitching? And Greinke is an exceptional pitcher. See if he can grind out a two out base hit right here.
Started 2, laid off the pitch in the dirt, smothered back there by Maldonado.
You know,
3-2.
Some guys get those check swings called on them for strikes more than others, and they're the ones that kind of lay the bat flat early on. But when you watch Votto check swing, he keeps that bat perpendicular to the ground as long as he possibly can. And you don't get called for as many check swing strikes that way. Griffey Jr. was another guy that did that.
Votto had a good rip right there to 93-mile-per-hour fastball. 2 of the home runs against Greinke came in 2010 when Greinke was with Kansas City. Obviously, those 2 in the same game. Didn't get him last year until late and drove that one to left center field. To the count on Votto. Breaking ball 4. It's 55 pitches now in the game for Greinke, who has only allowed now 4 base runners, and we're just in the 3rd inning. Well, you don't get a lot of opportunities, at least in most cases, against Greinke. And when you get them, you got to find a way to get him in. Phillips grounded out with Votto at second, ending the 1st inning. Mesoraco struck out with a runner at 3rd, ending the 2nd inning. And now, after a 2-out double by Heisey, Votto walks, and here's Brandon Phillips again. Breaking ball, strike 1. Fisted into right field, a base hit. They're going to wave around Heisey. He will score. Throw goes into 3rd where Votto stopped, and he caught a break. As the throw was offline, it's a 3-1 game.
Well, they caught 2 breaks, really. One was, the first break was Nyjer Morgan not knowing where he was going to come up and throw that baseball. He fields the ball, thinks he's going to go home, decides not to, and then decides to go to 3rd. And then fortunately for Votto, who slows up going into 3rd base, thinking he's going to be in a pickle. Votto's going to slow up right there. And that's what Mark Berry's telling him. Hey, stop right there. But as it turns out, the throw was offline, so the Reds pick up a 2-out base hit from Brandon Phillips.
And now looking for a 2-out hit from Jay Bruce. Ball 1 low and in.
That's a big hit by Phillips right there. Put his ball club on the scoreboard. Give Bruce a chance to do some more damage here.
Two 2-0.
Well, this all started really with 2 outs by that little flare of a double by Chris Heisey. You got to go light a candle on that scoring call, but still, he gets it going. A little flare misplayed by the right fielder. Now you're in business.
Well, you know, Bruce has a 3-0 green light if he likes it. And a one-hopper will end the inning. Let's get on the board. They trail 3-1. Event of the summer, baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with a 2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game Tuesday, July the 10th at 7:30 Eastern on Fox. There's still time to get the Reds to the All-Star Game. Joey Votto, the leading vote getter among all National Leaguers. Brandon Phillips, I tell you, for the life of me, I had 3 or 4 friends of mine last night ask me, how in the world is Brandon Phillips behind Dan Uggla? I mean, with all due respect, Uggla's the first second baseman in the history of Major League Baseball to have 5 consecutive years of 30 or more home runs. But this year, Uggla's hitting in the 230s, has 11 home runs, 42 batted in. Phillips has 1 less home run, more RBIs. He's hitting almost 50 points higher than Dan Uggla. The doubles are a wash, and the defense is night and day. Again, Uggla's been a good player, don't get me wrong, but there is no way one could justify Uggla right now leading over Phillips at the second base position.
Hey, when's the last time you looked down in the stands and you saw a fan with an all-star ballot in his hand and his pen out so he could punch out those little holes? But in the other hand, he had a stat sheet reading off what you just did. It doesn't matter. But I agree with you. I think that if I had my choice between the two, I'd take Brandon Phillips. I like to have them both, actually. Move Uggla to another position because he can hit that baseball.
Yeah, move him over to third.
But and it's the really ironic thing about that is he's probably getting a lot of votes in Atlanta, and that's where Brandon's from. So go figure.
And obviously what ends up happening a lot of times, if you get a player that is voted in as the starter, and then you start saying, okay, well, if Uggla is indeed the leading vote getter, well, Brandon Phillips is going to go to the All-Star game. Not necessarily true, because of every club having to be represented. I haven't paid any attention to what Jose Altuve has done, Chris, since we left, but I think you and I both agreed at the time that he was having the best season of any second baseman when we saw him the last road trip. Now, that's been well over a month ago. Weeks at home run to straightaway center field against Homer Bailey. Bailey has allowed hits to 3 of the last 4 batters that he has faced.
Well, it came on a fastball. You wonder really, and he got behind the first time the Weeks on a fastball. Off-speed pitch right there. Nice little splitter.
Tried to come in and left the ball right down the middle of the plate, and Weeks hammered it. Struck him out this time on a breaking ball away.
Now let's take a look at this one pitch by pitch, or a Mazda pitch by pitch. Ricky Weeks, same guy that hit a home run his last time up. He did not get a fastball down Broadway this time. First pitch ball. Homer trying to run him in there right there with a little sinker. There's another little changeup. He goes away with a slider after getting ahead 1 ball 2 strikes and puts Weeks away.
That'll bring up Martin Maldonado. He hit that fly ball to Jay Bruce and right his first time up. Milwaukee a 2-1 lead. And that one is 3 feet in front of the plate and comes all the way to the screen. The wild pitch advances Hart into scoring position. Breaking ball in there, and even a count on Martin Maldonado. First time we've had a chance to see this young man. He started in the series opener. Had a bunt hit in 3 at-bats. Came on as a pinch hitter last night and wound up being the final out of the night for Aroldis Chapman. Nobody's ever going to remember who the final out was in that game last night. The only thing they're going to remember is what took place about 5 seconds later. The double forward roll. Off the end of the bat into short left field. Ludwick for out number 2.
Have you ever done anything like that, even going back to Knot Hole? Little League. Do you have anybody on Luke's team?
I wasn't any good, so it doesn't matter. You got to be good to get away with something like that.
How about the coach pitch team do you have? Do you have anybody on that team that has the potential of doing a little double roll now that they've watched it on Reds TV?
Probably the whole team. Yes, probably the whole team. It's unbelievable, and all the parents out there know what I'm talking about that have the little guys. What these major league players do in games, everything. The batting gloves, the way they wear their pants, their socks, their hat, their mannerisms. For the kids who are really into baseball, boys or girls, you are going to see it. You can mark it down and take it to the bank in practice or in games once they start playing.
Well, your challenge as a head coach, Tom, is to try to get these kids not to do it in the middle of the inning while the pitch is en route to the plate.
That's right. Yeah. That or daisies. Or kicking the dirt at each other.
Checking out airplanes.
Yeah. That part, we've been lucky so far. Because, you know, the coaches are allowed when your team's on defense to walk her out there in the outfield and maneuver them around a little bit.
Those are the good old days, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Those really are.
We have our season finale later tonight. Here's a pitch. In the air, left field. Backing up and watching it go is Ludwick, and Cody Ransom has just hit a home run on an 0-2 pitch with 2 outs against Homer Bailey to make it a 5-1 game. Wow.
Well, the fact that it's 0-2 really makes it hurt. You see where Devin Mesoraco wants that ball. Watch it right before the pitch. He's standing up. He says, I want that ball about chin high, not thigh high. And then it goes bye-bye.
You know, you and I were talking earlier about the pickoff move. I wish I had $1 for every time in 25 years announcing I've seen a catcher do that to a pitcher, and the pitcher wound up throwing the ball right where Bailey just did, and the ball was killed.
You know, it's not an easy pitch to throw.
I don't doubt
practice it. And you bring up a great point. And I'm sure, Tom, it's more than just anecdotal evidence that you're recalling right there, that you could probably look it up somewhere. But unless you practice that pitch, because all game long, Homer Bailey's thinking, I got to keep the ball down. I got to get the ball down. Pitching coaches are telling you, extend out there, finish your breaking ball, get it down around the knees or just below. And then, for the first or second time in 65 pitches, they want you to throw that ball up.
I have never understood it for the life of me, precisely for the reason you just gave.
Now, some guys naturally can throw the ball up a lot easier than others, but you know, if you go back to pitching and say there's a spot that if I'm going to miss my spot, my aim, I can't miss it in a certain spot, which is the heart of the plate, especially on 0-2.
What a huge blow that was by Cody Ransom. 0-2 pitch with 2 outs, a 2-run bomb to stretch the lead to 4. Let's take a look at our AT&T trivia question. Who are the 5 current National League pitchers that have won the Cy Young Award in the American League? That is a very good question.
Oh, we got one out there on the mound today.
Yes, we do.
And we're going to see one in San Francisco. Barry Zito, right?
Indeed.
Let's see.
Take a look around here real quick. Johan Santana.
Cliff Lee?
I don't know if Lee did or not. You might be right. Well, Roy Halladay. That ball is launched into left field by Ryan Ludwick, and the Reds get one of those runs back.
Breaking ball down, but not down enough, and a nice sweeping swing by Ryan Ludwick. That's a no-doubter.
Well, now Todd Frazier, he tripled to deep left center his first time up, got beat with a fastball in on the hands there, and it's 0-2. Ludwick now with 10 home runs and 32 runs batted in, despite the very low batting average on the year. We have got a long way to go in this one, and you wonder if the Reds can continue to find a way to make Greinke really work. Here's a slow roller, picked up by the catcher. What a nice play by Maldonado.
Man, what a gun he has. We're seeing a couple of young catchers in this ball game, and Mesoraco and Maldonado that have some pretty fine tools. They have number one, they have something you can't teach, which is a rocket arm. We've seen Mesoraco throw the ball down to second base. That's a gun. Young man from Puerto Rico, grew up admiring Pudge Rodriguez and the Molina brothers. Some good catchers coming out of Puerto Rico.
Well, what an unbelievable career, really, that Pudge Rodriguez had. Now, you look back at all the Gold Gloves. I think the only catcher ever to win more Gold Gloves was, of course, Johnny Bench. And as an offensive player, boy, Rodriguez was just an outstanding player.
He was indeed. Played a long time, too.
Sure did. Stayed in great shape. Man, you get that guy the times where he had a chance to play in the postseason, especially that run the Marlins had in 2003. He might have been their best player during that postseason run. We're starting to talk about Greinke in that pitch count. He's up to 70 pitches now, and we're only one out into the bottom of the fourth inning. That's not a huge number.
Well, it's a number that the Reds could work on a little bit. I mean, if he is not coming out and getting ahead of the hitters and getting you down 0-1, 1-2 immediately, no reason to go up there and start hacking at the first pitch.
2 down in the inning. Well, despite the fact that Bill Bray is getting loose in the bullpen, Homer Bailey's going to bat. Doesn't mean Bailey's not coming out of the game. But maybe Dusty Baker doesn't want to burn a pinch hitter here in the fourth inning with 2 outs and nobody on. I mean, Bailey has been highly ineffective here in this game so far today. He's allowed 6 base hits, and all 6 have come in the last 3 innings. And he's given up 5 earned runs. Strike 3 called on Bailey, and the inning is over. The Reds get the home run by Ryan Ludwick, and we're on our way to the 5th. Reds are down 3. to you by JTM Food Group. Great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Visit buyatoyota.com. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Into 4, 5 runs, 6 hits for Milwaukee against Homer Bailey. 2 runs and 5 hits for the Reds against Zach Greinke. And it will be pitcher against pitcher as we open up the top half of the 5th. Fly ball into deep right center field, and Bruce will play it up against the wall. Heisey fires back in, and Greinke, 4 hits all year long, starts off this 5th inning with a double.
We were commenting his last time up how good he looked on a particular fastball swing, and he got a fastball right there, pretty much right down the can. Not so sure how long Dusty Baker's going to hang with Bailey, but I guess he'll give him one more hitter, at least a left-hander right here, even though you've got Bill Bray up and ready in the bullpen.
Aoki in the game is fouled out to Cozart, single to left field. Went to second on a throwing error in the 3rd inning by Bailey, and then scored on a 2-out single by Aramis Ramirez. Alfredo Simon now throwing in the Reds bullpen as Bill Bray is taking a seat. Three and one now on Aoki. Well, Cozart keeping the runner Greinke, who doesn't figure to be going anywhere, relatively close. And there is a huge hole on the left side of the infield. And I think we've seen already in this series that Aoki is more than capable of hitting the ball the other way. In fact, that's where he knocked in his last hit. Nice play by that lady up in the stands.
You're not kidding about that.
Now that's a big league fan. And there's ball 4.
Now Dusty Baker's been up off his chair. He had Brian Price check the phone to see if Simon or maybe Bill Bray, who might be getting back up, is ready to go. Now he asked Devin Mesoraco to go out and chat a little bit, buy some time.
Well, Dusty now making his way to the stairs, and the right foot comes up, stops, halfway up.
It's all about timing, isn't it? Time is up.
And Homer Bailey He's now gone back-to-back starts where he has been unable to get through the 6th inning. So this will be or is there even a signal given yet? Not one yet. Alfredo Simon started to come out of the gate and then stopped when he realized that he had not been officially called upon. And now he is. Alfredo going to go over and get a glass of water, maybe check in with Porky on the way out. Young lady, could you tell us what we're going to do right now?
Skyline call to the bullpen.
Thank you very much, LMA.
Wow.
Very nicely done.
You might be out of a job pretty soon, big guy. I like her. Reds action 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live is everything you need to know for that night's game, and it's only on your exclusive home for the Cincinnati Reds, Fox Sports Ohio.
Already pitching change, 2 on and nobody out, and you got to believe Nyjer Morgan is up there to do one thing against Alfredo Simon, and that's bunt. They have a play at third here. And a poor bunt by Morgan, and the Reds take advantage as Alfredo comes down to get it, and they cut down the pitcher Greinke at third base.
Not having a good game, to say the least, is Nyjer Morgan. You got the pitcher at second base. It's not an easy running play for anybody out there, but especially somebody who's not experienced on the base paths. And you bunt it right back to the pitcher. You have a forced play. You get the lead man. Good play by Simon. Nice play by Frazier. And Simon has been good. For a guy that became available to the Reds on the waiver wire right at the end of spring training, the Reds needed an arm. They picked him up, and I think he has far exceeded expectations.
Swing and a miss to Aramis Ramirez. Runner takes off for third. Throw down there, and the runner is out at third. A bullet thrown by Mesoraco and a real nice play by Frazier. It looked like he picked that thing out of the dirt and kept the glove down on the ground.
It's a hard play for the third baseman because he's got to get there in time. He goes in there and he picks a ball that's in the dirt and applies the tag. Boy, Mesoraco saved the Reds a couple of runs on this ball game today. Potentially anyway. Gunned down Ramirez at second, guns down Aoki at third. On both of those plays, it looked like runners had pretty good jumps.
That's one of those plays when you're the base runner. We saw Brandon Phillips do it the other night. It's one of those plays where if you're going to do it, you better make it, because if you don't, you sit there and scratch your head and beg the question why. You have 2 on with 1 out in the heart of the order coming up for your team. Granted, no Ryan Braun in the lineup, but nonetheless, you've got a big-time run producer through his entire career in Ramirez at the plate.
Yeah, you are, but you're more likely to do it on that 1-out situation than you would with nobody or 2 out. You know, a lot of guys feel like stealing third base is easier than stealing second base. Now, when Brandon did it the other night, he did it with a left-handed pitcher on the mound, which is always a little easier for some reason than it is for a righty.
You know, I've heard all those guys through the years, Chris, say that like you have too. And you know, the question I always ask is, well, if it's easier, then why don't you do it more?
Well,
I mean, that's a legitimate follow-up question.
Yeah.
When guys say something's easier, well, then why don't you do it? And infrequently do you see it in baseball anymore.
not enough.
Yeah, you're right. Really nice job by Alfredo Simon. No runs in the inning. The Reds are down 3. The Redlegs will take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Wednesday, July the 18th. One of the first 25,000 fans through the gate get a Jay Bruce bobblehead courtesy of Chiquita. That'll be on a Wednesday night. Reds and the Diamondbacks, July 16, 17, 18, and 19. Call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com for tickets. All right, Reds are down 3 after real good work from Alfredo Simon out of their bullpen. Taking over for Homer Bailey with 2 on and nobody out. And it's a top of the order against Greinke, who's knocking on the door of 80 pitches. It's 2-0 on Cozart, who has bounced out to Weeks, a second baseman, and was called out on strikes in the 3rd. On the 2-0 pop-up off the bat of Cozart. Let's take a look at our AT&T trivia question and the answer. The 5 current National League pitchers that have won the Cy Young in the American League. And Chris, you and I had a handful of them, I think. And Cliff Lee, you're right. We had all 5 of them.
Yeah, that's a first for us this year.
Yes, it is.
And that's without knowing the answer ahead of time.
And you would have to say today, as we sit here right now, it's not saying where we're going forward, but today of that group, Zach Greinke is the best pitcher of that group. Now, Halladay has undoubtedly had, you know, just a spectacular career. So too is Johan Santana. We know the plight of Barry Zito after leaving Oakland and coming to the Giants in that big deal. It's not played out the way he had hoped or the Giants had hoped, and Cliff Lee, still among the best left-handers in the game, but has struggled with good health so far this year.
Well, you know, one of the secrets that Greinke, and I alluded to it earlier, a guy like Justin Verlander, it's the difference in speed between their fastest and their slowest pitch. And Greinke's one of these guys that really makes the chasm between fastest and slowest quite large. Today, his high is 94, his low is 71. That's a lot of adjusting for a hitter to do at the plate. It's one of the things that they were trying to get Mike Leake to do, for instance, is show a little bit more difference between your fastball and your changeup. His fastball is 88 and his changeup is 83. It's easier for the hitter to adjust. I know Verlander, that day that he pitched here in Cincinnati, I mean, he was throwing a couple of curveballs down right around 70 to 71 miles an hour, and then he was dialing it up to 101 to Jay Bruce in one particular at bat.
Heisey has bounced out to second base and hit that floater that was misplayed in right by Morgan. Morgan broke back, came in, and the ball hit him right in the heel of the glove, and it was scored a double. Heisey wound up scoring the first Reds run on a 2-out hit by Brandon Phillips. Ludwick homered, leading off the 4th inning, and here we are in the bottom of the 5th. They keep throwing Heisey that breaking ball, and he keeps starting to offer, but able to hold up in time for a second pitch in a row. Shortstop behind the bag throws out Heisey, and they're 2 away in the 5th. It would be so interesting to know, and I'm sure there's somewhere you can look it up, probably wouldn't be easy to find. How many times this year has Joey Votto come to the plate with nobody on base? And I'm not talking about leading off an inning, although you could constitute that as well. That's probably going to be part of something you look up to find it. But ever since Brandon Phillips very early in the year after the injury to Scott Rowland had to go from leading off down to the cleanup spot, Cozart, outside of a couple of weeks where he was very hot, has gone through growing pains as a rookie, and really the number 2 hole has been a black hole as well for the Reds this year, whether it's been Stubbs, Heisey, whomever they've had there. And so, you know, Votto's a guy who's batting over 350. He's the best hitter, or has been the best hitter most of his season with runners in scoring position.
386.
But he only has 52 at bats the entire year where he's hit with a runner in scoring position. I beg your pardon, he's had 57 at bats this year with a runner in scoring position. Votto. Fly ball into left field. This should end the inning, and it does. So 1-2-3 for Greinke. We move to the 6th. Brewers still with a 3-run lead.
Post game, you heard from the manager before anyone else, extended highlights and more. It's Reds Live, presented by King's Honda. Jim Day with you, and many of you have probably heard the story when the Reds were recently in Pittsburgh that Todd Frazier was out to dinner with Ryan Ludwick when someone else in the restaurant was choking on a piece of meat, and Todd Frazier basically saved that person's life by giving the Heimlich maneuver. Well, yesterday, Dr. Henry Heimlich, the man that invented the Heimlich maneuver, Cincinnati's own, presented Todd with the Save a Life Award. Heimlich, 92, moved to Cincinnati in the 1960s. He, of course, has his institute here in Cincinnati. But Todd Frazier and Henry Heimlich now forever intertwined.
Boy, that was so nice before the game here last night, and Dr. Heimlich still looks great, despite, as you mentioned, Jim Day, being 92 years young.
What a great award for Todd Frazier to win. I mean, that is impressive.
Meanwhile, Brandon Phillips having to leave the game or being taken out of the game, as Miguel Cairo takes over down at third base, or at second base, and the grounder by Hart to third is the first out in the inning. Well, you understand Jim Day has gotten an update from down in the Reds dugout on Brandon Phillips. What's going on, Jimbo?
Well, I'm not sure what's wrong with Brandon Phillips, but he did take his bats out of the rack and went to the clubhouse, which would indicate, obviously, he's had a game that he is done for today. But I noticed the last time they were in the field that between pitches, Brandon's usually smiling, talking, walking around. He would just put his hands on his knees as Votto gets this foul out. Put his hands on his knees and look to the ground between pitches like something was wrong. It didn't look like he was limping or anything. The only thing I can guess, and again this is speculation, is that he was suffering from some dizziness. But try to follow it up and see what's going on down here.
All right, Jim Day, thank you very much. Of course, earlier in the game, Aramis Ramirez went sliding in when he was thrown out trying to steal to end the third inning, and his arm, don't know if it's his forearm or his hand or his elbow, caught Brandon Phillips right in the face. Maybe that blow is a little harder than it looked like on the replay.
Yeah. Oh, when you're sitting in your living room, it doesn't look hard at all.
Sure.
And when you're the one getting the forearm shiver, a little different story.
0-1 on Maldonado.
Here it is again. Aramis Ramirez sliding in. He's out, but that left arm, as he goes up to slide, he just tracks that right across the face of Brandon Phillips. Brandon checked his lips to see if he was bleeding. I may have hit him in the nose and just, sends you for a loop.
Towards the left field line, Ludwick gets there in time, and now Fredo Simon a 1-2-3-6. Let's see if the Reds can get something going. They're down 5-2. July 20th, 21st, 22nd, the Reds and the Brewers right here at Great American Ballpark on Saturday the 21st arrive early. One of the first 20,000 fans get a red soft-sided cooler thanks to Hebrew National. 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. So now Miguel Cairo in that cleanup spot. He will lead off the Reds' bottom of the 6th inning against Zach Greinke. 5 runs, 7 hits for Milwaukee. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Reds. Reds have had a base runner in every inning with the exception of their last go-round in the 5th when Greinke set down Cozart, Heisey, and Votto in order. By the way, I had asked the question, and Joe Luckup, our statistician, delivers the goods. Was wondering how many times this year, plate appearances, Joey Votto has come to the plate with nobody on base. Doesn't matter if the bases, if there was 1 out, 2 outs, nobody out. Joey Votto, if you throw in his walk so far this year, has a little over 300 plate appearances. 175 of his 310 plate appearances. Think about that. 175 times he has walked to the plate with nobody on base. And that's been true 2 of his 3 plate appearances today. One out in the inning. I'm not so sure there is another number that I would look at for the Reds over the second half of the season. And you could probably talk me into 1 or 2 that I'll buy. But I'm not sure there might be a more telling statistic on how the Reds do the remainder of this year than the percentages starting to swing more in Votto's favor, where the majority becomes people on rather than the overwhelming majority of nobody on.
Well, we've said a lot of times, and I'm always wondrous about why certain pitchers in certain situations even pitch to Votto at all with nobody on even. Now, that stat that you just ran out there, he's come to the plate 36 more times with nobody on than with runners on. So it's maybe not the divide that you think, because he's had a lot of runners on base, but not always in scoring position.
Well, do me a favor there. Explain that one to me, because I'm sitting here looking at Joey Votto. If you use his total number at bats, which is 252, you tack onto that 59 walks. So that's that's 311 total plate appearances.
No, he's only had 30 walks with nobody on base.
No. I'm just saying his overall numbers this year, total plate appearances this season, if you include his at-bats and his walks, is 311.
Okay.
I was told 175 of the 311 plate appearances he walked up there with nobody on. We'll get back to that in a minute. our game summary. Ricky Weeks started the scoring with a 2-run home run to center field into Milwaukee's second inning. Milwaukee went up 3-0 the following inning. Brandon Phillips, a 2-out run scoring single to get the Reds on the board. And then Cody Ransom with 2 outs, 2 strikes. Hit a 2-run home run in the fourth. Ryan Ludwick led off the bottom of the inning with a home run. And you're up to speed on the scoring, 5-2. As Alfredo Simon is on in relief of Homer Bailey, who lasted 4+ innings, allowed 7 hits and 5 runs, 4 earned runs. His throwing error was the one that led to the lone unearned run. All right, so without boring everybody, although I think there are a lot of very interested Reds fans to know how this whole thing turned out that you and I were talking about, I made the point that Votto has batted 175 plate appearances this year without anybody on. And you talked about 141 times he's come to the plate with a runner on base. And if we take it one more step further, if somebody is wondering, Votto has had just 76 of his 319 plate appearances this year where he's had a runner in scoring position.
Right. So now, to put that in perspective, where does that rank, though? I mean, if you just throw those numbers out there, unless you follow it every day, you may not know.
That's right. Well, put it this way. You take all the number 3 hole hitters in Major League Baseball, every single one of them, both National League and American League. Votto has the 4th most plate appearances with the bases empty of all number 3 hitters in the Major League. So in other words, there are only 3 guys batting in the 3rd hole, and that's the best hitter on every team, that have walked to the plate this year with nobody on base with more frequency than Joey Votto.
All right, so he bats 3rd. So let's take it one step further. So you don't fix the lineup behind Votto. You fix the lineup in front of him if you want to get him up there with an opportunity to drive more runs in. You've got to find guys that get on base in the number 1 and 2 slots.
Straight up into the air. Foul ground. Frazier over near the dugout and out of play. And if you're wondering who the 3 are, how about this trio? Jose Bautista,
yeah,
Adam Dunn, and Albert Pujols.
So we've identified the problem, but we have no clue how to make the answer.
No, nor will I have any fingerprints on any of it. Just reporting the facts.
You're getting closer and closer to doing math in public, you know.
No, I will definitely not do that. There is ball 4 to Cody Ransom. First base runner allowed by Alfredo out of the bullpen. He came on in the 5th with runners at 1st and 2nd and nobody out. Nigel Morgan tried to advance the runners with a bunt. Simon threw out the lead runner at 3rd. The runner who moved to 2nd tried to steal 3rd. He was thrown out. And then Simon retired Aramis Ramirez to end the inning. At a 1-2-3 6th. And now ahead of Carlos Gomez, 0-2 here in the 7th. Well, Gomez almost fell over the strike 2 pitch. And on strike 3, is that a foul ball?
Oh, Dusty Baker's asking the home plate umpire, did you hear it? Certainly didn't look like it's a foul ball, not by our Performance Honda slow-mo look, but maybe because Mesoraco was unable to hold on to it, it appeared like it was a foul ball.
Well, Gomez was given the job in center field, and they thought he was going to be their main man on a regular basis, but between lack of production, batting into 230s, also was sidelined for 2.5 weeks with an injury. Although he hits his 2-strike pitch into left, it goes to the wall. Boy, the Reds have been killed on 2-strike pitches and 2-out pitches so far in this game today, outside of that 2-run home run by Weeks in the second.
Pretty good looking pitch right there. But he just went right down to get it. Gomez did. Lines it over Ludwick's head. Boy, a 3-run ball game right now. You really got to do whatever you can to try to strand those runners.
I don't know about you, Chris. I am stunned. Zach Greinke is coming out of this game.
After 6. That's good news. 96 pitches for Greinke today. It's warm. I mean, it's upper 80s. Well, I guess the way that Ron Renicke's looking at it is he's figuring that this is the time when I can really put this ball game away with a couple of base hits right here. Dusty Baker thinks, hey, this is the time when I need to keep those runners and leave them on base. Let's see if we can't bring in the bullpen in here to come to the aid for Alfredo Simon, who came to the aid of Homer Bailey.
Well, you have 3 consecutive left-handed batters theoretically coming up with a pinch hitter, Taylor Green, and then Aoki and Morgan. And Bill Bray's the guy that's going to be brought on to try and get him out. Back in a moment.
To try to get the Reds out of this jam. Spent most of the season on the disabled list, hurting himself in spring training, groin injury, then a back injury, and one thing led to another, then to another, and he's not come back here until June. He's got a base open, and Taylor Green, a left-handed pinch hitter at the plate.
Green, the guy, as you know, who broke up the no-hit bid last night of Bronson Arroyo. 1 on and 1 out in the 8th inning, and a double down the right field line. Infield in, Reds already down 3, and Bray is brought in there to face 3 consecutive left-handed batters. 3-0. And Bray comes on and issues a 4-pitch walk. So now he'll try and regroup as the bases are loaded, still nobody out. And here comes Aoki, another left-handed batter.
Slider action right there by Bill Bray. That ball was up and not a good place to pitch Aoki. That's where that pitch was that he pulled out of here against Matt Latos, the only run that Latos gave up. Bill Bray's got a good slider, but he needs to get that baby down.
Rolled over foul. That's probably the best breaking ball Bray has thrown in the inning from a location standpoint.
Well, it also shows how good it is because Aoki just barely was able to make contact. He kind of runs out of the box anyway at contact. That breaking ball going away from him, down in the zone right there. I'd try that one again.
Swinging for the first out of the inning.
Now set him up with that last slider with a previous fastball. But he comes right back with that slider. Good location right there. And before Aoki can figure out that that's not going to be a strike, he can't hold up. That's a key strikeout. And the Reds will keep the infield playing in. They're going to come home with anything on the ground. Because Nyjer Morgan runs well, and they think maybe their chance of a conventional double play is not as good as being able to come to the plate.
Well, it's a guy that Bray's got to get out without the run getting home. This guy's just having a dreadful season. In there, strike one. This will be the final batter, more than likely, that Bray will face either way, with a right-handed batting Ramirez waiting. And you've got Logan Ondrusek ready in the Reds bullpen. It's a huge at-bat in this game right here and right now. Morgan has been playing 4 or 5 days a week and has knocked in 4 runs the entire year. Kind of the old adage about when the infield is in, you add what, 30, 40 points to a guy's batting average. But Dusty hoping Bill Bray can make a pitch. Here comes a squeeze, and the Brewers run into an out. Or do they? They do. Well, maybe that's why Ron Renicky put on a squeeze, knowing what Morgan has done, or more accurately not done. They have used a suicide squeeze by far more than any other team in baseball.
He looked like he pulled the bat back on that squeeze play. He had a fake bunt the previous pitch. But the Reds run into a break right here. They've had their share today.
Boy, thank you very much.
Well, you know what? He would have been out anyway if he made contact with that ball because he was stepping on home plate.
So now Bray trying to zero in. You've got second and third, 2 outs. And it's popped up. So Bray after a leadoff walk fans Aoki. Brewers run into an important second out, and Bray finishes off Morgan. Still a 3-run game. Sunday, July the 15th, that first Sunday after the break. Cheer on the Reds. They take on the Cardinals. That'll be a night game on that Sunday night at 8 o'clock. And you can buy 1 ticket at full price, get 3 additional tickets at half price. They'll be giving away the Reds braided necklace. 3-in-1 Reds, or visit Reds.com. Well, Chris, you take out your #1 starter, who's only allowed 2 runs. Figuring with runners at second and third and nobody out, you're going to get a run home. The Brewers don't get a run home. And now they've got to patch up 9 outs out of that bullpen. And it starts with Cameron Lowe.
Yeah, you're right about that. And boy, the longer you let your bullpen pitch, the more uncertainty you have out there. But the offensive presentation gave Ron Renicky a chance right there. He figures second and third, nobody out. Here's a chance to deliver the death blow to the Reds, and the Reds were able to get out of that inning with no runs. So we see Cameron Lowe, middle reliever. See if the Reds can't get something done against him that they could not get done against Zach Greinke.
Well, the Brewers thought their bullpen would be their strength this year. It has not been.
Well, you see the number of innings that they've got pitched right there. Second most. That'll wear you out after a while. Their earned run average is almost 2 runs per game, worse than the Reds bullpen.
Lowe gave up a run in 1+ inning. It was the bullpen that gave up his run. He allowed a hit leading off the 8th inning. And they used a couple of more pitchers before the Reds tacked on another run. Generally, the Brewers like to stack it up with Lowe in his 7th. Former Angels closer Francisco Rodriguez in the 8th, getting the ball to Axford in the 9th. Frazier gone to begin the Reds' 7th. Devin Mesoraco, the batter, 0 for 2, is struck out and flied out to center field. Turned on that pitch, but foul. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Visit Mighty Mike at Newport Aquarium, the biggest gator in the country. Make it a weekend getaway and book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com.
Hey, I was over there to see Mighty Mike about a week ago.
Were you?
Man, oh man, that is one large gator.
Broken bat pop up. Weeks is there for the 2nd out of the inning. Reds have not had a base runner.
Remember, it was Devin Mesoraco. I hate to interrupt you, Tom, but Devin Mesoraco that had a ball hit the end of his bat, and that was the bat that swung around and hit Jerry Lane in the side of the head. As it turned out, fortunately, that bat landed where no one was hit. But you can break a bat by the end, hit it on the end just as easily as you can on the hands. And the weird thing is that there is technology now that you get it's like a plastic membrane, and you put it over just the handle part of the bat, above where the hands are, but until you get to the contact area of the bat, and that would keep those bats from flying everywhere. And I'm not sure why Major League Baseball is hesitating or waiting for somebody to get really injured before they begin to start experimenting with this and putting it into play.
You have one of those?
I don't. I've had some people tell me about those. And it doesn't change the weight of the bat, doesn't change anything because it's really in the non-hitting area.
12 in a row retired by Milwaukee pitching. We go to the 8th. The Reds still trail 5-2. Five-2 ball game at the end of 7. Homer Bailey, the front 4, allowed all 5 Milwaukee runs. Alfredo Simon got the Red starter out of further trouble when he came on in the 5th. Did a nice job and an excellent work by Bill Bray coming on with runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out in the 7th. Did not allow a run to score. So now we get a look at Logan Ondrusek.
Really what's happened so far is that the relievers that Dusty Baker has brought in have done a great job in bailing out the pitcher that is removed. Simon came out to get out of that 5th inning. Bill Bray came in to get Simon out of that jam. And with a clean inning, here's a 6'8" Ondrusek.
Chris, you made the point a moment ago about the Milwaukee bullpen allowing nearly 2 runs per 9 innings more than the Reds bullpen, and today is a prime example. Maybe more than even being able to protect a lead. There's a sinking liner off the bat of Ramirez for out number 1. The fact that because of this outstanding work turned in by both Simon and Bray, the Reds are at least still in there with a fighting chance, down only 3.
That's exactly right, because if your bullpen blows up, oftentimes it blows up in middle relief, and guys that you bring in the 5th, 6th, or 7th inning, aren't nearly as good as the guys that are at the end of the game. But with the Reds bullpen, there's not much of a drop off there. So if you can put a 0 up there in the 5th and 6th inning instead of letting a run in the 5th and 2 runs in the 6th, you are still in the ball game. And the Reds have seen that a lot. They play a lot of close games.
0-2 on Corey Hart. 2 hits, 2 runs scored today. Hart did not start the game last night against Bronson Arroyo. And here is strike 3 called, although Hart did coming in late and had a 2-run double in that 8th inning against Arroyo. 2 out.
Ondrusek just gasses it up right there to 94, but keeps it down around the knees. Boy, when he's right and throwing that good fastball down, that downward plane, it's a tough pitch to negotiate there.
Francisco Rodriguez throwing in the Milwaukee bullpen, as we speculated. They'll hand him the ball in the 8th. Boy, did he have some great years as a closer out in Anaheim. Things not quite as good for him once he left there and went to the Mets. And then a real surprise deal, and that's when he found his way to Milwaukee last year for that stretch run. And apparently there was some miscommunication between the agent and the team he was going to, and would it nullify his contract, and would he become a free agent, and on and on and on, and it was a mess. And he wound up going to arbitration and signing a 1-year contract. Three and 2 now in Weeks. Reds have a top of the order coming up. In the bottom of the 8th inning, they're trailing 5-2. Gone swinging his Weeks, and that'll retire to side. An impressive 8th by Ondrusek. All right, is this going to be the inning? In part by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the nation by U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your Tri-State Chevy dealers. Yes, some of the good stuff here at the ballpark. Well, look at that ride. That's nice. Go for one of those right about now, Creeper.
You're not kidding about that. And look for a shade tree. But not until this ball game's over, and the Reds are going to have to face a couple of pitchers probably before it's all said and done. This one here in the 8th inning, K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez. Came over from the Mets last year. Had a good run of it with the Brewers. He was 4-0 last year with the Brewers. Earned run average at 1.8. Having a pretty good year again this year, although his record is exactly reversed. 0-4. A nice fastball, but his signature pitch is that big overhand breaking ball. Very hard curveball. And he'll come throwing that thing and then falling off towards first base every time. Jeez.
And again, much like Zach Greinke, we made the call earlier on, if he's getting a low strike, in Rodriguez's case, if he's getting that high strike, these guys are hard enough to hit to begin with. And then hooked into left field. That'll fall in a base hit. So he threw him a breaking ball that just hung right in the middle of the plate, and a good start for the Reds here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, had him 0-2 also. So I'm not sure if Zach Greinke was just looking for a curveball in that at bat, or whether that one was just looking so good right down the middle that he just put the good wood to it.
That ends a string 0 for 19 for Zach Cozart. And just his second hit in his last 26 at bats. Here's Heisey. First pitch swinging, Heisey, and pops it up behind the plate. And Maldonado will run out of room.
I catch a break right there by that ball going into the stands. But, you know, Heisey, what we've noticed lately, Tom, is that he seems to be more anxious in a situation like this. When he batted leadoff the other day.
Yeah, went 0 for 5 and what, swung at the first pitch 4 or 5 times, including that 9th inning at bat after Jared Burton had walked 2 batters to begin the 9th inning.
So this is the time right here. Now, you don't want to go down 0-2, but it would have been an at bat where the ball has to be exactly where you want it in order to go ahead and take a rip at it. Well, he had Cozart 0-2, threw him a breaking ball. He has thrown 2 fastballs now to Heisey, which is normally Chris Heisey's strength. See if he throws a breaking ball here.
Pitches in the dirt, and alertly, Cozart got a good break and advances on to second base on the wild pitch. And he did throw him a breaking ball at an 0-2 count. And Heisey started to swing. He's had about 7 of those today on breaking balls, where he starts and is able to hold up.
Well, he drops that bat very quickly. See how quickly that ball, that bat gets to be parallel. Hard to hold up when you do that. You know, we were talking earlier about Joey Votto and the number of times he comes to the plate with nobody on base versus runners on. Well, the Reds, you know, so that talks about who's ahead of him, who are the number 1 hole hitters and number 2 hole hitters. Well, they have a combined this year, not just the 2 guys that are there today, Cozart and Heisey, but whoever's been batting 1 and 2 have a combined on-base percentage of .289. That is 15th out of 16 in this league. That's the reason why Joey Votto didn't come up with enough guys on.
2-2 now on Heisey. Reds down 3, but a runner at second and nobody out. And here's ball 3.
Now this guy can get wild on you.
He becomes the first Reds base runner since a home run by Ludwick in the 4th inning. And here's ball 4 off the outside corner, and this time there are 2 on for Joey Votto.
Now it's not going to be Ron Renicky, it's going to be Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, going out there. Just to try to change the momentum of the inning a little bit. Certainly not exactly the way Renicky nor Kranitz wanted it to start. You got a 3-run lead, you give up an 0-2 base hit, and then you walk the next guy. And now you're facing the best hitter in baseball.
Well, not only do you walk the next guy, you walk a guy after you were ahead, no balls and 2 strikes on the second hitter as well.
Yeah. So maybe Kranitz is telling him, stay away from that count. I've had a lot of pitching coaches tell me a lot of different things. Never that.
That's right. I was going to say, record that one for me. Kranitz immediately comes back in and relays whatever he heard from Francisco Rodriguez to the manager, Ron Renicky. And here is Joey Votto with 2 on and nobody out. Votto has doubled, walked, and flied out to left field.
Well, he looks like he's trying to go down that low inside spot, which is the same spot the Brewers have tried to pitch Votto all series long.
Strike there on 3-0. Almost a throw your right arm in the air call there by Eric Cooper.
A 3-0 Leo.
Well, now Votto, that proverbial 1 pitch, 1 zone. 2 on, none out. In the air, right field. Oh, did he get it? No, he did not. In front of the wall, it's Morgan to make the grab and just missed it. Thought when it left the back there, it had a shot. But maybe off the end a little bit there, Chris, on that 3-1 pitch.
I think you're right, Tom. He just did not get that hole. I'm not sure if it got in on him a little bit or maybe out on the end. I think he just got it on the end, just a little bit ahead of it. He went down in that same spot that Francisco, and man, oh man, he's thrown a whole lot of people here at this ballpark this afternoon with that swing.
Boy, he had me fired up. I thought that baby was on its way. And now apparently something is not right about Francisco Rodriguez. We told you that when, well, now he says he's okay. He's going to stay in the game.
Temporary heart failure when that ball came off the bat.
Perhaps. in this ballpark, you can't get fooled from time to time. I thought when that ball left the bat, goes to show.
It sounded good, and it looked good. Just needed a little bit more air under it.
All right, now Miguel Cairo. Remember, Brandon Phillips left the game. And Cairo took over for him in the 6th inning. Hopefully you get good news out of the Reds clubhouse following the game, but everything is all right with Brandon. They're on the corner, still only 1 out. Strike 1. Jose Berez, a right-hander, getting loose in the Milwaukee bullpen. One and one on Miguel Cairo. Runners on the corners, 1 out. Reds down 3. And a double play ball here. Unless Cairo can beat it. And no attempt on the throw after it took that second hop. So scoring is Cozart to make it a 2-run game. Cairo on it first with 2 away, and here comes Jay Bruce. Bruce today 0 for 3. His fly to left, bounce to first, fly to right. What a play by Weeks. Takes away a hit, and that'll end the inning. So the Reds put the first 2 on and manage 1. We go to the 9th, 5-3 Milwaukee. 2 missiles from the right hand of Devin Mesoraco, chopping down would-be base stealers today. And now he'll work with his 5th hurler of the afternoon, and this one is Jose Arredondo, having a mighty good year. Look at those numbers.
Yeah, he is having a good year. Has his earned run average now down under 2. Still walks about 1 batter every other inning, but he strikes out more than an inning. An opponent batting average way down low, under 150. So they need a 0 out of Arredondo right here as he pitches to the bottom 4 hitters in the Brewers order.
Well, Axford gave it up here last night, came into a tie game and gave up a home run to Drew Stubbs. It wound up being the Reds' winning run of the game. Axford has had a really tough year. And I would imagine we'll see him in the 9th when the Reds will set up Ryan Ludwick, Todd Frazier, Devin Mesoraco. At least those are the scheduled batters. Be the last time the Reds will be here at Great American Ballpark until the 2nd weekend of July. They will not play another home game until they kick off a 10-game homestand. There's an 0-2 pitch hooked into left field by Maldonado, a base hit. They'll have 3 against St. Louis beginning on Friday night, July the 13th. It's a Friday night, Saturday afternoon game. Your schedule says 7:10. That is now a 4 o'clock game on Saturday, and then Sunday a night game. Arizona comes rolling in for 4. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night games, Thursday afternoon. Then these Brewers again. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. Votto going to play and throws the ball into center field. A rare defensive mistake by this entire Reds team, and Votto in particular.
That was an awfully good looking bunt right there that Ransom laid down. And Joey Votto, though, playing aggressive, thought he could get to it and threw it well wide. In fact, he was closer to the umpire than he was second base.
Bunted foul back to the screen by Gomez.
Well, that's bad form right there. I mean, he just kind of, for a guy with the kind of speed that Gomez has, a center fielder, you'd think he'd be a little more adept at bunting. He just kind of poked at that ball. Leave it on.
Well, a couple of meetings going on. One of them over and the other adjourned. Two on, nobody out. Milwaukee with a 2-run lead. And Arredondo, a glance back at second base, and now to pitch. Gomez swings away. That's 1. That's 2.
Well, the Reds have wriggled out of some really tough jams here. Bill Bray with the help of a botch squeeze in the 7th inning. And here they had the first 2 runners on and nobody out, and now you're looking at 2 on, or 2 out and 1 on, and a real good chance here for Jose Arredondo to be able to get out of it if he can figure out a way to retire Ishikawa.
Here in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting, healthier products for your menu. JTM. Harkening back to days of we're together again. Ball 1 to Ishikawa.
It's been a while. I miss those days.
Two and one on Ishikawa. Two-one delivery. Swing and a miss. Bat goes flying out of the hands of Ishikawa. We've seen that from him and a little bit earlier on Carlos Gomez.
Looks like Arredondo's throwing more fastball.
He has been.
He may have gotten a word from Brian Price or Mac Jenkins and say, hey, you know, you've got a pretty good fastball, and if you don't use it, it's going to be gone. Maybe an observation relayed to Arredondo by Jorge Lopez. Heads up the bullpen core out there.
Arredondo, a long look in, runner at third, 2 are out, 2-2 to Ishikawa, and it's hooked into right field. Another 2-out, 2-strike hit for the Brewers today. They got a 2-out hit by Ramirez to knock in a run in the third, a 2-out, 2-strike home run by Cody Ransom in the fourth, and now a 2-out, 2-hit or 2-strike run producing single by Ishikawa, and the lead goes to 3. One account on Aoki. Been on board twice today, and now a bid for a third time, and it falls in a base hit. First and third with 2 out, 1 more out still to get, and here comes Nigel Morgan. But you were talking about it earlier today, and I think it certainly holds true. Now, granted, it's only a 3-game series where you've seen him in the lineup every day, but this Aoki is a pretty nice-looking little player.
He is. You know, the superlatives for Aoki really come on defense first. But what he's done offensively, he's just hit his way right into the lineup and the top of the lineup. He just seems like he just serves the ball, and when he goes the other way to left field. By American standards, kind of an unusual batting style, but very effective.
Roger Morgan, who is 0 for 4 in the game. 1-1. Red's got to run back in the bottom of the 8th inning to get within 2, but Milwaukee has gotten that run right back here in the top of the 9th inning. They have their closer Axford ready, and Arredondo trying to keep it at a 3-run game. And again, where or why would you throw over? You've got a guy at the plate that has 4 RBIs in 175 at bats. The same cannot be said for the fellow who waits on deck, and that would be Aramis Ramirez. You're talking about a guy in Ramirez who has made a lot of money in his major league career by driving in runs. Ramirez is going to bat, and Brian Price is going to visit the mound. 3 straight Brewers have reached since the Carlos Gomez double play ball with 2 on and nobody out. Talked about Ramirez signed that 3-year deal, leaving the Cubs, coming to the Brewers. Last year, for the 6th time in his major league career, he hit over 300. Last year, for the 9th time in his major league career, he had 25 or more home runs in a season. And last year, for the 8th time in his career, he knocked in 90 or more runs in a season. That's a pile of production from Aramis Ramirez, or any player. I mean, those are really impressive numbers.
You're right about that.
Up into foul ground and out of play. You know what, a lot of people in Chicago felt what happened to Ramirez was after Derek Lee began to slip, Sammy Sosa's numbers began to fade, and he wound up no longer being in the Cub lineup, that Ramirez was not the kind of guy that was going to quote unquote carry a team. Number 3 hitter, knock in 115, 120 runs for you and be, you know, the main force in the middle of the lineup. I think it's probably safe to say that, you know, while he may not be the leading act, the number 1 guy, if you will, he's a pretty doggone number 2 or number 3 guy in the lineup. Same thing happens to a lot of guys in a starting rotation. You say, well, you know, heck, he could be our number 1. And you find out, you know what, maybe he's not qualified or ready to be an ace of a staff. But as a number 2 or number 3 guy in your rotation, you might win a World Series with player X or pitcher X.
Well, it's all about putting the little pieces of the puzzle together, where all those guys together are much greater than individually, the sum of their individual efforts.
Check swing, he didn't go around, and Arredondo has fallen behind 3-1 to Ramirez.
That's one area where Ramirez has gotten so much better over the years. He used to be so anxious on breaking balls, so anxious overall to hit the ball, that he chased a lot of pitches down and out of the zone. But he's become actually, and a lot of guys do, if they last long enough in the major leagues, they become very good breaking ball hitters.
Holy Moses. Arredondo walks in a run.
Well, it was a 2-run game when he took the mound with nobody on at the top of the inning. And this has really been the Achilles heel for Arredondo. They're going to try to hurry up and get Sam LeCure ready in the Reds bullpen. He's warming up right now. They're going to send Mesoraco out to try to delay him enough. Meanwhile, as Eric Cooper goes out there, Brian Price is going to check the phone again, say how far away is LeCure from getting ready. Can't have any more of this.
Strike 1 to Corey Hart, 8th man at bat in the inning. Remember, the first 2 reached. A single on a 2-strike pitch to Maldonado. Ransom bunted at Joey Votto, who tried to get the out at second, threw it into center field. So there were 2 on with nobody out. Arredondo got a double play ball, but since then has not retired any of the next 4 batters. RBI single off the bat of Ishikawa to knock in a run. Aoki single to left center. Morgan walked. And now a bases loaded walk to Aramis Ramirez, and it's no longer a save try for John Axford. They had Livan Hernandez warming up alongside of him. This is exactly what we were talking about just an inning ago, that the Reds bullpen has not done frequently this year. Well, what once was 0-2 is now 3-2, and this will be the final pitch either way that Arredondo is going to throw in this game. Pitches already in this inning for Arredondo, and here comes number 32. Another bases loaded walk, and that's it for him.
How about a 3-2 splitter after you've just walked the run in?
Back in a moment.
Head to Milwaukee to take on Ryan Braun and the Brewers in a rematch of last year's NLDS. Baseball Night in America telecast presented by Budweiser begins Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox. Now the Reds are heading to San Francisco after today's ball game. Johnny Cueto, Baumgartner, Leake, Kane, Latos, Zito, Arroyo, and Vogelsong. A 4-game series against the San Francisco Giants, who, if all things fall right, could be in first place by the time the Reds arrive there this evening. Couple of changes. Heisey moves over. That is Ryan Ludwick, but Heisey moves over to right field, and Drew Stubbs comes into center field as Sam LeCure comes on with bases loaded, trying to get the Reds and Jose Arredondo out of a very tough jam in which the Brewers have already scored 3.
3 walks by Arredondo. Allowed 3 hits in the inning. 1 error, which makes all of these runs unearned runs. But runs nonetheless. Reds were down 2 when the inning began, and now they trail by 5. Weeks waiting on the outside corner to even the count. Weeks hit a 2-run home run to begin the scoring for the Brewers against Homer Bailey. That was way back in the 2nd inning. That's well over 3 hours ago. Ball back up through the middle, and the force out at second will mercifully end the inning. A 3-run night for the Brewers. The Reds come to bat trailing by 5. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Ryan Ludwick Leading off the 4th inning, club's home run number 10. By the time it brought the Reds a little bit closer against Zach Greinke. Made it a 4-2 game. I beg your pardon, made it a 5-2 game. Stay that way till the Reds got a run in the bottom of the 8th to make it a 2-run deficit, but then the Brewers score 3 against Jose Arredondo, and now it's Livan Hernandez rather than the closer John Axford here in the bottom of the 9th. Ludwick to lead it off.
That 3 spot take a little bit of the drama out of this ball game. Livan Hernandez, he's just got picked up by the Brewers last week. He made his Brewer debut on Monday. Struck out the only batter he faced. That was Scott Rowland.
One and one on Ryan Ludwick. Reds would love to make enough noise here in the 9th inning to force the Brewers to bring in their closer. You just never know in this ballpark. Not quite to the old days of Coors Field in Denver, the pre-humidor. I mean, it's still never easy there. But boy, you had a 5-run lead going into the bottom of the 9th inning against some of those Colorado clubs, and you never felt safe. That ball is in the air, left center field off the bat of Ludwick, and just like that, a 5-run game to a 4-run game. And I'm sure Axford will be off his feet in that Milwaukee bullpen quickly. Nissan drive of the game, second of the game for Ryan Ludwick.
Now he got Zach Greinke with a breaking ball early on. He gets a little moving fastball right there that comes right into his zone. That's a long one there.
th time in Ryan Ludwick's very good major league career. He's hit 2 or more home runs in a game.
Swinging the bat a lot better. A lot better.
Never know. You just never, ever know here in this ballpark. Frazier takes a strike at the knees behind 1-2. And Todd way out in front, popped up in a short right, and Morgan will come in to get it. 1 out. First pitch swinging, drops it foul off to the first base side out of play. A quiet day for Mesoraco at the plate. Been very good in the field, but struck out, popped up to center, and broke his bat his last time up on a pop up to Weeks. In the air down the right field line, Morgan near the stands, and did he get it? No, he did not. Morgan barking at a fan. Of course, he's had more than his fair share of issues with fans through the years. In fact, he threw a ball at a fan one night.
And hit the wrong fan, I think, didn't he? Oh, wrangling with it gives him a leather slap at the end.
Well, be careful sometimes so you do that too.
Yeah.
There's some guys that I'm not so sure that guy down there is somebody Nigel Morgan might want to cause some problems with.
He might not be able to catch Nigel Morgan, but if he did, it might not be pretty.
I'm not suggesting for a second that that's the kind of thing that
never,
any fan or any player should ever get into. But I mean, you go over there by the stands, you're trying to make a play, that's fine. You bump into the guy, but all of a sudden to give him a little shimmy there at the end.
Of all the
when
times
you know there's nothing you can do about it.
Right, but of all the times we've seen players go in the stands, that's the first time I've ever seen a player do that to a fan.
Yep.
If a fan did that to a player, he'd be ejected, wouldn't he?
On the spot. Breaking ball in the outside corner. Drew Stubbs batting for the first time, and undoubtedly we will see him back in the lineup tomorrow. He had 2 very good games. First 2 games of this series coming off the disabled list. Breaking ball away. Stubbs on base 3 times, stole a base, scored 2 runs in the series opener. Yesterday on base twice, stole a base, and broke a 3-3 tie with a leadoff home run to center field off John Axford in the 8th inning. To the count on Stubbs. Cozart next. Could find a way somehow, some way, and it would take some doing to get Votto to the plate here in the 9th. That's not going to happen, and the Brewers will get out of this series with 1 win. Final count of 8-4. The Brewers win it.